Anna Hovitt, the Director of Programming at the Chicago Fashion Incubator.
And I'm Barb Keisman. I'm a designer in resident at the Chicago Fashion Incubator. Today we wanted to talk to you about some different ways or the value of doing market research. And the reason this is important is because I remember reading a book a designer wrote, and he says, if I could give one advice to designers, one advice, it's to get retail experience. Find out what your customer wants. Find out what the customer wants. And I thought, I've never worked in a store before. How am I going to do that? So Anna, what are some ways that we can get some market research in as designers?
Well, if you do any kind of trunk show, you can
Okay.
definitely meet the consumer. So if you already sell to a store or you want to sell to a store, the buyer might allow you to do a trunk show where you bring your items in, you can stand in the store, and you can talk to their current customers. Another way would be to do markets like you do.
You know, I love art shows for this reason. Where else can you go where you're going to have, like at the One of a Kind show, there are 60,000 women, well, mostly women, that come through that show in 4 days. Where else are you going to get that exposure? And I don't say much to them. Well, I do talk to my customers, don't get me wrong, but I watch them. I watch to see which tops they just naturally gravitate to. And then in the beginning, I used to ask them questions. Would you like this a little longer? How's the fabric feel? Do you like the fabric? Would you like to see a different kind of I would ask them questions in the beginning. And so, because I knew I was at a learning stage, there's no point acting like you're not a newbie. But they would be happy to give me their advice. They would say, oh, we want this or we want that. So that's what I've found. How about you?
Absolutely. And sometimes I'd be a little nervous asking them. I think as the designer, you're very connected to your designs and you don't want anyone to critique you. But then listening to them and understanding what works and what doesn't is going to help increase your sales in the future.
So the number one advice is to somehow get some retail experience. Get a way to connect to that customer. Another way you had mentioned was Facebook.
Absolutely, by asking people what they feel about your design. So what I used to do is I would, draw out maybe 5 or 6 designs, and I would put the sketch on Facebook, and people love to give their opinion, as we all know.
I loved it.
So I would be like, okay, which one of these should I produce for my upcoming fall collection? And I would get 100 comments. Oh, number 1, number 2, number 3, and people would really love to be part of that design process.
I did the same thing. I would do photos. I can't draw. I would take photos of some of my designs and say, okay, now I've got to make decisions on which ones I'm going to go with, and then I would ask them, which ones would you choose? And here's a little tidbit though. I have found sometimes that the one they like the most is not the one that sold the best, and I'm going to tell you why. They liked it for somebody else.
They liked it aesthetically, but wouldn't actually wear it.
So I found that so maybe you have to rephrase that question, like, which one would you wear? Which one would you like to wear? Not which one do you like, because they like it for their niece, their aunt, whatever, but not for them. So phrase it right and you'll get some good information. Any other ideas?
Well, I think the other one I would suggest is to look at your competition. What other designers do you love? What does your garments look similar to? How are they doing it, and what can you do better than them?
You know what? You have to stay current. And that's not copying another designer, but it is staying, sometimes I'll say, I love just that button. I love that collar. I love that hip. I don't ever do a whole design over. That's just not right.
Correct.
But there are some things, like nothing is new under the sun when it comes to clothes. We all have armholes still. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But there's like a new collar or a new, just zippers or something's new. So I pay attention to what's happening out there. And the only way you can do that is to check out other design lines.
Absolutely. By finding little design details you love from multiple sources and putting them into your own garment is what's going to sell the best.
Anyway, I hope you've gotten something out of what we've just shared with you, and I hope you check out some more of our videos. Again, I'm Barb Keisman, and you've been listening to Dare to Dream once more.